Well, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. Always excited to be with you and share the news with you. Hey, before we get rolling, one quick favor I'm going to ask. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and go over to lumberjacklogicshow.com. At least register your email. You can also get some great merchandise over there. Great way to support the show if you want to. But here's the thing. The censorship is real, and this report will lead into this. Now, I'm going to have you watch this clip from Justin Trudeau, and, where he is joking, but he's really saying the quiet part out loud. I'm going to get into the background of this because it's very important for you to understand. All right, so watch this.
Sometimes hear about liberal bias in the media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million. You don't get stellar headlines like these without greasing the wheels a bit.
Okay, now I'm going to take you to an article from CBC. Now, that's the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Yes, it is like their public television up there. But not only that, they actually generate money from commercial advertising. So they're on the take multiple ways. And I'm sure they got part of this $600 million. But here's the thing. Misleading, this is the headline, misleading Trudeau joke video demonstrates the political power of editing. A misleading video claiming to show Prime Minister Justin Trudeau bragging about bribing Canadian media has been viewed more than 250,000 times online. Oh, we're going to just bump that up a little here, aren't we? And it's going up quite a bit right now because it's circulating around a lot on Telegram. The video actually shows Trudeau telling a joke during the parliamentary press gallery dinner and removes important context, such as the less than flattering headlines about him that Trudeau cited as his punchline. So, in the video that you saw here, they're saying, well, he removed the punchline about the unflattering headlines. But there is no doubt that he did spend $600 million. So the Tories accused Trudeau of bribing media with tax breaks. Now, this was also out of CBC. I'm going to get into the best report here in just a second. The Conservative opposition is accusing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of trying to bribe Canadian media to secure favorable media coverage in the run-up to next year's federal election. The accusations came a day after Finance Minister Bill Morneau announced in the fall economic update that the government was introducing $600 million in tax credits and incentives to help the media industry over the next 5 years. Now, I'm going to have you watch this other clip, and this is them arguing in their parliament about this. It seems like a lot of political theater. You're going to see a lot of weird posturing, gesticulating, body language. The one gal at the end is just over the top. She's almost smirking as she says it. Okay, just watch this clip.
The government decided to create a $600 million slush fund in order to entice journalists to favor this government in the next election.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's insulting to think that journalists can be bought off.
Why is the Prime Minister trying to buy off the media?
Why is the Prime Minister trying to buy off the media?
The Conservatives think that journalists can be bought, and we don't. We think that their work is absolutely fundamental to our democracy.
Now an attempt to bribe the media with $600 million in an election year.
We're also not afraid of an independent media doing their job. We believe that the media plays an essential role in our democracy.
All right, are you falling out of your chair, rolling on the floor, laughing your you-know-what off? Because I'm telling you, I've never seen so much brown-nosing in all my life. These liberals, I can't believe that they would impugn the high integrity of our press corps. These conservatives are so bad. The conservatives seem weak in their arguments. Anyways, but the brown-nosing on the liberals' part, yeah, they're going to get great coverage. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, they're going to get great coverage. Going back to this article, here's a quote from Conservative MP Pierre Poilievre. Okay, Justin Trudeau thinks it is the job of the media to shower him with praise, and coincidentally, in an election year, he's forcing Canadian taxpayers to dole out $600 million in order to try and buy Trudeau the media's support as he goes to the polls. Okay, Some of the money is expected to go toward a new tax credit for media organizations to support the production of content. I wonder what kind of content they're going to be, putting out there. Are they going to put anything out there that's critical of this? Probably not. And which organizations are getting it? Are conservative outlets getting it? Ones that really do take Trudeau to task? I like real conservatives, okay? It certainly gives the impression of potentially affecting not necessarily individual journalists, but the organizations, the companies, the employers they work for, said Conservative MP Peter Kent, a retired journalist himself. When the media or media organizations, or in fact individual journalist jobs, are dependent on government subsidies, that is the antithesis of a free and independent press, he added. Michel Rampel Garner, I'm sorry, I do not have my French down. If you're watching this from Canada, I apologize. I'm learning your politics like so many of us here in the U.S. because we're so inspired by what you're doing up there. So this person said, you know what? Journalists are the victims of the Trudeau-sponsored content fund. They are all going to have to work extra hard to prove their objectivity in an era where everyone is a content creator. RIP free speech. Now I'm going to share with you out of People's World War how Trudeau bought the media. Okay, this from December 14, 2021. The overwhelming bulk of Canada's media is bought and paid for by the federal government, in particular by the Liberal Party, which has extended generous taxpayer subsidies to outlets that comply with its dictates. I think it's dictates. I don't know, the spelling on it's weird. Anyways, in its 2019 budget, the federal government rolled out nearly $600 million in subsidies for select media outlets that obtain the federal government's approval. So here's the thing. To receive that funding, they need to receive the federal government's approval. Okay, so do you think I would receive that? Do you think they would approve of me as I report on Trudeau and the convoy? Most likely not. Not only that, I'm not in Canada, but I'm just saying if I were, all right? The media has a blind spot because most of the rest of the Canadian media is already on the take. Magazines receive large subsidies to defray the costs of printing and mailing. Massive regulatory subsidies give a cornered market to the government's favored broadcasters and make entry by competitors like the late Sun News Network virtually impossible. The elephant of government media control is obviously the CBC, with an annual bill to taxpayers well in excess of $1 billion. So that CBC I was reading from earlier is already collecting over $1 billion, plus they're getting ad revenue. Okay? I mean, come on. By handling nearly $600 million directly to select newspapers, the government isn't doing anything new. It's just extending the control that it has over other mediums, the traditional mainstream newspapers. To dole out the cash, the Liberals created a hand-picked panel, giving the bailout an appearance of distance from direct partisan investigation. Unsurprisingly, the panel was stacked with Liberal allies, some quite openly so. In August, Winnipeg Free Press publisher and Liberal media panelist Bob Cox awarded himself a large grant from the $50 million local journalism initiative. He cut himself the check to hire 2 new reporters, including a climate change correspondent. What the reporter does all day is anybody's guess, but that reporter owes his or her own job directly to the Liberal government. Can we expect that person to do anything but toe the party line? For all intents and purposes, this person is an employee of the federal government and not a reporter. Even those not directly hired with a large grant in the print business will owe a large portion of their take-home pay to the federal government. The journalism labor credit allows the Orwellianly named Qualified Canadian Journalism Organizations to apply for a 25% refundable tax credit with a cap of $13,750 per employee. Look, at this point, the Canadian government is paying these people's mortgages. Do you really expect you're going to get the best reporting out of that? Or are they going to be concerned about whether or not their mortgage gets paid? My gosh, this puts even credible and reputable reporters, columnists, editors, and publishers in a massive conflict of interest. Maclean's and iPolitics columnist Stephen Mayer wrote in June 2019 that since everyone else is getting bailout, why not the media? The public policy argument for some kind of measure to shore up public interest in journalism is clear as day. For good or ill, the federal government has long been in the bailout business. Taxpayers spent $3.5 billion bailing out automakers. The bailouts need to end. See, we need to be back towards a free market society. So here is the thing. If you are ever hearing a politician talk about handing out more money, just know that that is peddling influence. Okay? And it's your money that they're doing it with. And you should be pissed off. So one of our great litmus tests for politicians is whether or not they will vote on that kind of garbage. Okay? And I mean in every way, shape, or form. Okay? And all of them. Even ones who you might think are favorable. Call them out on this. Because if they continue to do this, they are going to drive our economies into the tank and our dollars will be worthless, okay? That's just real. Hey, want to thank you so much for listening. MyPillow.com, promo code Lumberjack will save you up to 66%. Actually, right now, they have the biggest sales I've ever seen going on over there. So go over and check it out at MyPillow.com. Get yourself some of those Giza sheets. You will absolutely love them. Thanks so much for listening. Love you, folks. Peace out.